Good evening. This is the Design Review Board for the City of Milton, January 5th, 2020. I have some instructions for those of you who are out in the audience or who are online on Zoom or who are calling in. If you are attending virtually via Zoom, there are a few guidelines I would like to mention. Everyone is muted and your videos are turned off by default to minimize any disruptions. If you would like to make a comment during the public hearing portions of this meeting, please raise your hand by clicking on the icon labeled Participants at the bottom of your screen, and then click the button labeled Raise Hand. If you're calling into the meeting on a phone, you can raise your hand by pressing *9 on your keypad. Once the moderator calls your name, please unmute yourself by clicking on the microphone button on the bottom of your screen or by pressing *6 on your phone. All right. First order of business, I want to call the meeting to order, and if everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the Republic for God for all. I would like to first introduce our city staff and board members, if I can start to my left.
Shubha Jangam, Senior Planner at City of Milton.
Robin McDonald, Zoning Manager.
Lee Collins, Westbrook Road.
Reed Casey, Bethany Road.
Laura Weissong, Crooked Creek.
Tim Bryan, Mayfield Road.
Beniquez Palmer, Canterbury on the Lake.
And then we also have Jeff on Zoom.
Jeff Dufresne, Summit Road.
Thank you. All right, first order of business for this evening, I need to approve this evening's agenda.
Make a motion to approve this evening's agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Our next order of business is to approve the November meeting minutes. If somebody can make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the November meeting minutes.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. All right. Our next order of business is demolitions. And our first demolition item is, the address is 310 Darby Road. If the applicant could please come forward. And just please state your name and address.
Hello. Okay to hold the mask down to talk, or you want to keep it up?
You're fine if you need it.
Okay. Paul Bird, 315 Darby Road, Milton, Georgia, 30004. And the demo is to the lot to the left of that, and that's 310 Darby Road.
What are your plans for that once the demolition is?
So as soon as we get a permit or approval, we'd like to knock it down. So it's built in 67. It's not really safe, and so we need pasture for our horses, and so we'd like to knock that down as soon as possible.
Okay, so this is going to be for livestock then?
Correct.
Okay, great. Any questions or comments from the board?
And I'd just like to say you did a great job on all your notes here. Thank you. We don't usually get this detailed of notes, so that was nice. And I'm assuming with staff that all of these asbestos permits, propane tank, all this stuff has been verified through you guys, I'm sure. All on file. Questions?
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was actually really good. This is really helpful. All right. Any comments from the public on this item?
No, there's not.
No. Okay. If there aren't any other questions from the board, then I would suggest somebody could make a motion to move forward on this.
I'll make a motion to approve the demo at 310 Darby Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much.
Good luck. All right, our next demolition case is 14500 Wood Road. If the applicant could come forward and state your name and address.
Hello again. My name is Austin Lineberry. I reside at 1355 Freeholm Road, Canton, Georgia. I'm a general contractor at New River Building Company, representing Todd and Kim Nadler, residents at 14500 Wood Road. This is a two-story structure that was built in 1972. The home was remodeled around year 2000, and my clients acquired it in the year of 2003. Mr. Nadler was in one of the construction trades at one point, had a company, so he's done some embellishments to the home that make it look nicer. But the fact of the matter is they've been waiting some time to take the structure down and build more of their dream home. So they're getting in the phase of life where dream home is in their vocabulary, I guess, where they've wanted to build. So there's some really good pictures. I'm not sure which exactly ones were included in your packet. So it makes it seem like the house is a little bigger than it actually is. It's only 2,780 square feet, but it does have a large deck that wraps around in a carport, so it makes it appear a little bit larger. So there's no historical significance to the home. I wouldn't deem that it's significantly unsafe, but it does have some issues fundamentally with the home, where it would be more costly to try to repair and renovate the home than it would be just to start over. So you have an issue where you have fundamental problems with the house, but then you also have these folks' desire to build something much nicer. It was not submitted in the DRB packet, but I did bring elevations of the home if you're interested to see those. It is going to be a modern farmhouse. It is over a 6-acre property, and the house that's way back in the property, you might be able to see it with the leaves off the trees, but when they are, it's very private back there. So the structure that is going to be built is much nicer than what's there, but it still is not. It's not in visual sight from properties around it very, very well. Any questions that you guys have for me?
I assume you've already had the arborists mark trees for any trees coming down there? Or
Yeah, so a lady in my office has been running lead with these clients, and she's been communicating with Gaskins out of Cherokee County. They're the surveyor of record. They're involved with the tree study, the septic system information, and the kind. I don't know what specifically has been tackled with the arborist. I know that will be part of the whole building permit process as we tackle that. There's some trees that are pretty much right on top of the house.
Yeah, I noticed.
That'll need to come out, so we're going to have to address that. I think another important thing to note, too, is there's a few other structures on the property, but this is the only one that we want to demo. There's a garage that's detached from the home, a barn, and a pool.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those are in okay shape and will remain.
Okay.
So can I clarify, you want to demo the other ones as well?
No, we do not.
Okay.
I'm just noting that we do not want to demo anything except the house. And then the other home, they want to put it in the same location. So you'll see in your packet the site plan for the existing home. And the other one's pretty much going to go right back where that one is.
Okay.
So basically, it appears you'd have to remove those trees that are next to the house even to get the new house in. So you're not losing additional trees just to take down a house.
Correct. I mean, It's pretty much a giant field.
Yeah.
There's a couple trees around the house, but they're old, and I've had arborists look at the condition of them, but really it's not per se a wooded lot. It's pretty large pasture driving all the way up the hill to get back to it. Not sure how clear that is from the aerial you have from Google Maps, but
Yeah, those trees are really tight too on there. That
oh, they're
almost
right
looks
on
a
top
bit-
of the porch.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it looks, that's almost probably a little bit too tight for insurance purposes, I would think, but.
Yes, ma'am.
So I just want to make another comment too. When the applicant comes in for their building permit, if they're not going to demo the garage and the barn, they'll have to come in for a variance to be able to get everything into compliance. So those are sitting in setbacks. So unless you can show that it was built before like 1945 or 46, then that'll just be another process just to be aware of.
Yeah.
Anytime we have a new structure coming in, we try to get all the existing structures in compliance. So just FYI.
That's fine. So we'll have to go through that BZA and the variance process. Okay, yeah.
Any questions for the applicant from the board or comments? Anything from the public?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm supportive of the demolition, if you all are, so if somebody would like to make a motion.
I move to approve the demolition of 14500 Wood Road.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, our next demolition item is Fire Station 42 at 15240 Thompson Road. Will the applicant come forward?
Yeah, it's a city.
It's got to be somebody over here.
Yeah, we're the applicant. So basically, I think a couple months ago, you all saw the proposed new fire station, which is 1,000% better than this structure. So we're just going through the proper channels to get your approval for the demo of the existing fire station. So.
Yeah, I think I have no comments or questions there if nobody else does, because I've known that thing for a while, and it's,
I have one just curious question. Where will they operate out of once this one goes down?
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand
Where
anything.
will the firemen operate out of once this one goes down? Are they already relocated to the one off of,
I do not know that
Okay.
answer.
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, like even, they may actually go over to the big new fire station for
That's what I
now.
was thinking.
And then be relocated. I believe that that's the answer. So,
Okay.
yeah.
so, Robin, what's the date for completion on that project, do you know?
For this one?
Yeah.
I will find out for you.
Okay, just,
Yeah, I don't, I know once it starts, it's going to go pretty fast, so.
I would think.
We've only had a
Yeah,
courtesy
text
review on
Bob
that,
on
correct?
No, it's a vote for demo.
No, I mean, the building itself,
Oh,
it was only
we
a
did.
courtesy review.
We did, yeah. So, yeah, we had just a review. Yeah, it looks great, though. So, I suggest if somebody can make a motion to approve Fire Station 42 demo. Yes, are there any comments from the public? Thank you. Nope. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. It's going to look great. Very nice. Okay. All right, we are moving into our second part of our meeting, which is a focus on courtesy reviews. And courtesy reviews, the DRB does not vote on these particular items. What we do is provide input and direction to the applicant and provide input to the BZA for zoning modifications. So we will not take a vote, but we will provide the applicant feedback and we will provide the BZA feedback. So just to clarify that. Our first item is case V21-01, addresses 210 Pinehurst Walk. And I believe that is for a pool to encroach into the 25-foot city's undisturbed buffer and the 25-foot impervious setback.
So she wants to, yeah.
So if the applicant could come forward, sorry.
Yeah, so they're online, so if you can ask them to unmute.
Okay, yes, so I guess the applicant is online. So if you can unmute online and state your name and address and explain to us what your objectives are here with this project.
So I think.
All right.
Okay.
Hi. My name is Kellen Shostak. My address is 502 Briar Hill Court in Woodstock, Georgia. And I'm representing the homeowners at 210 Pinehurst Walk, which are the sales. And I do believe they are actually online as well.
Yes, we are here.
So, but this is basically a variance request for a pool construction in their backyard. There is a creek flowing out off of their property on the east side. And when you delineate the buffers associated with that creek, their pool is encroaching. So we are asking for a variance for that encroachment. The creek was not on the final plat, nor were any of the buffers on the final plat for this lot. And basically, I guess that's the gist of it.
Yeah, I'm familiar with this lot. I live in Crooked Creek, so I know this.
Oh, and I do apologize. I just saw my screen just changed with those pictures. So those are actually the development that's across the creek.
Mm-hmm.
That's currently that's currently developed across the creek from this lot.
Yeah, which is Forsyth County, I believe. So, I guess a question I have you, I know your neighbors, have you gotten approval from your neighbors of what you're doing? Are they on board?
Yes, this is Vikram Sale. I'm the homeowner. We have actually spoken with the neighbors, and they're all good with it. Actually, they're excited that they will have the pool in the curly sack space, so they're excited about it.
Okay, good. Yeah, and I would suggest if you've spoken to them, if they could give you a couple letters to take to the BZA that they're in support of your project, that would be really helpful for your BZA review. So,
Okay.
Will do. Yeah, any questions from the board for the applicants?
Robin, those setbacks are incorrect. 7.5, 7.5, 30, and 30. My
For the
glass is not
setbacks,
strong
but
enough.
for pools, I'm sorry, you're talking about building setbacks?
Just the build line itself. Is that correct?
So Crooked Creek is a CUP, so every pod or area has different setbacks. So yes, that's correct for that pod.
I don't know if my glasses were strong enough to see that, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. We don't get them, we're so used to 25, 50, and 60. So
Yeah.
hard to see something else, so.
Yeah. Yeah, and Crooked Creek was built way long before the city, so it was all platted a long time ago, so. Any questions for the applicant or comments?
Do you mind to go back to sorry, I think I interrupted you. The picture previous to this one, please. I guess whenever we're giving our comments on these, it's nice to try to stay within the variances whenever we can. I'm trying to identify on the photo exactly where the pool begins and where the pool ends. Maybe the lady that's handling the pool project can help me out. I don't know what the pictures are of the pillars. Maybe it's where the fire pit is.
Pool, I mean, this was basically just to kind of show you existing conditions of that area where the pool is going. When I was out there, the extent of the pool hadn't been flagged or anything like that as far as an exact location. But I don't know if everyone has the packet, but on the plan, I mean, the existing fire pit is shown on the plans that also show the pool. So,
Is the fire pit labeled 1 or circled 1? Is that a spa I'm looking at overlooking the pool, or is that the fire pit?
Yeah, actually, this is Vikram Sayal. Kellen, do you want me to chime in?
yes, please, because yes.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the fire pit that you see actually on the screen here with the chairs around, that's actually where the spa part of the swimming pool is going to be. And then the swimming pool is going to go towards the right-hand side, stretching it from there. And then we're just going to move the fire pit a little bit to the left, by a couple of feet.
Imagine you don't want your kids jumping off the deck into the pool. Is that why you kind of put it off,
Yep.
set it off a little bit?
Yep.
Okay.
Or you could go from the
Not
fire
pretty
pit
well.
to the pool.
I mean, if there's no other place to put it.
Yeah, I mean, and you've got Forsyth County on the other side, which, you're not going to ask anyone over there, so you never can get anybody to even talk to you over there anyway. So, yeah, I mean, because it's a cup, the lots are limited into what your setbacks and everything are for a pool, but most people who bought into Crooked Creek want the option of being able to put in a pool. So, and all the variances that the city currently have didn't really exist then, except for if you're on the golf course, you have the 25-foot golf course buffer, or the creek buffer for the state. So, any other comments or input for the applicants? Or for the BZA from the board?
Like it goes into the state buffer. Larger. All right. Cross over the state buffer.
A little bit.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Not getting into the state.
Yeah.
What's the problem there, Robin? What's the if it encroaches into a state buffer?
I can't hear you or understand you. Can you say that again?
There, it looks like a very tail of this is
Right.
in the state buffer on the right. Do you see that? It's
On the site plan?
yeah. It's on the last page for the site plan.
The state allows 100 square feet, and that's kind of our, we're going to stay below that 100 square feet of allowed encroachment into the state buffer, is our intention. Hopefully we can get it totally out with a little bit of tweaking, but they do allow 100 square feet.
I did not understand what she said.
Yes.
I'm having a really hard time.
So on the, they're saying, so the pool company, that it's outside of the state 25-foot undisturbed buffer, but as designed is under the allowed 100 square foot of disturbance.
Into the state, you're saying?
Well, it's
That's what
showing
she's saying.
on the plan on the right, it's hitting a little bit of the state buffer, just a very small piece
It
of
looks
that.
like, and you can correct me, the pool lady, sorry, I forgot your name. it looks like some of the surface also goes into the state buffer.
Yeah.
Is that correct, Mrs.?
Yes, this is Kellen. I'm actually the engineer that's helping, and as the design currently, it is there's a small amount of area that goes into that state buffer, but the state allows less than 100 or up to 100 square feet, so that's going to be a constraint. I mean, we're going to have to keep that under 100 square feet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's for us to say yea or nay on, as long as that's verified.
I don't know. Robin, do you have any direction on that, or?
I mean, we'll make sure that this is a really hard, we'll ask the applicant to kind of make a better site plan so we can determine exactly what is happening there, as well as we'll consult with our engineer, our city engineer, to confirm that information that she's giving. So I think it would be helpful to the BZA to have a little bit more specific and detailed plan, so we can have a little bit better idea exactly where it lands.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful, like a lot of times with the pools, they've got topos on there, and that to me helps to understand where the buffers are, where any creek beds.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can work with the applicant to help with
Okay.
that.
In this situation, there is a note. We were, the original survey, or the surveyor who did the original survey, did not actually pick up the creek as state waters. And so this pool was designed without buffers. And we are in the process of getting the surveyor to revise the survey.
Okay.
Because there are state waters out there. And so we're in the process. The goal was to have the revised survey for today's meeting. That did not happen. So it will definitely happen before the the next meeting.
Yeah, and you may want to run that, when you get that, I would run that by the city staff first. You could contact Robin and her staff, and they can help you. Maybe take a quick look at that before you go to the meeting. They can give you some advice to help you make sure you can get through the meeting.
Yes, our plan is to resubmit it as soon as we get it.
Right.
We just are in a holding pattern right now.
Okay. All right. So I think that's all of our input and advice. I think all of us agree with the pool. Just make sure everything's buttoned up on the pictures, and any letters your neighbors could give, just a quick note would be very helpful. Other than that, it looks like it's going to be a really, really nice project. So good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Our next courtesy review is V21-02. The address is 13195 Freemanville Road, and that is to allow a new barn to be located less than 200 feet from the property lines. The applicant can come forward and state your name and address, please.
I'm Walter Bierman, 13195 Freemanville Road. I'm the resident.
Walter, how you doing?
We're looking to put a barn in. A barn is not possible behind the house. We live on a lake. And we would like to, in the future, have possibly some animals there. So that definitely means we can't be by the lake. The location we picked, the property is only 333 feet wide. Very, very deep, though. So trying to get 200 feet off the property line is impossible. The location we picked for it is actually perfect. It's almost like it was made for it. My understanding is that the property used to be a cut-through for a quarry or a mine or something back in the day, and This is the old kind of like pass-through area, so the topo there is perfectly flat. There's very few trees that are going to be impacted. My neighbor's house is still a good 300 to 400 feet away from where the barn would be. The only thing close would be their driveway would be within 100 feet, roughly, maybe even further. So we're pretty well protected from neighbors, and you're not even going to see it from the road. I wish you would. It's going to be a pretty barn, but you're not even going to see it from the road. Even my neighbors on Freemanville Road, there's enough trees and things that they're going to barely see it. Maybe in the winter time they'll see it. So it's pretty well protected. The property's plenty big enough, so the impact is not going to look bad at all on the property. It's going to be a nice addition.
So, Robin, do you guys have any comments or on this particular case for us? It's because it's a little unique.
I'm looking at it right now. So it is true. It's a R2, which is it's a little bit different. We don't have a lot of R2 zoning properties, but it does support agricultural uses. It's also 1 acre minimum, but the setbacks are a bit different. And it does call out structures to house animals to be 200 feet, so that's correct. But I am looking at the rear setback, and it appears it's 40 feet and your building is 35. Is there any way you can scoot it 5 more feet closer to your house so that way you won't have to ask for a variance? Because we would have to re-advertise it, and I apologize.
Where are you looking exactly?
Yeah.
So if you look at he kind of has the site plan blown up. So the right top. So he just took a piece of it, and you'll see he has a property line, and it indicates a 10-foot setback line, but that's not a correct amount. But he does show the proposed location to be 35 feet from the property line. So that's what the advertising is for the agricultural building. But looking at the actual setbacks for any building is...
Actually, the setbacks on the side yards are like 15.
15.
So is that's the side yard?
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to see. Okay. I'm sorry. It's just, there's no...
Yeah, the rear yard's on the lake.
Oh, you're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
that's
You're
the
right.
side
You're right.
yard.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's 15. I apologize. I was looking at it as though it was the rear.
No, it's an awkward. Once you get in there, once you get in there, it's nice and long and easy to follow. Until that, it's kind of awkward.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you're good on that. But when you go to submit your building permit, all that needs to be fixed for the setback. It's not 10 feet, it's 15 feet.
Right.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments from the board for the applicant? It's really, it's going to be nice. I mean, it's beautiful. So,
And we thought about trying to move it to the middle of the property, but the impact on the topography and trees, it would just be disastrous.
yeah.
Instead, we can leave that area with all the trees and nice.
Yeah, I mean, you're limited to where you can put things, right? So you got to put them in the best spot, and happens to be it. Yeah, I'm good with the project. I mean, I understand why they need to do it. So I would recommend it if everyone else is on board. I think we'll go with a recommendation to move forward.
Okay.
Okay.
The one about getting the letter, something from the people around the area, and then also maybe an aerial photo, just a Google map, something that also kind of lets me see what all of the trees and everything looks like around it.
You probably won't see much. We have a big canopy. We're in a forest. Yeah, it's pretty.
Looks like
It
it.
may be important to know because this, for some reason, this little development, which I happen to live in as well, is R2 zoned in the middle
Right,
of
yeah.
agricultural everything. May be good to note to the BZA that it's just an anomaly for whatever reason. I hope they know that. They probably do.
Yeah, it was zoned in 1972, so
Wow.
it's a,
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I don't know why it was
Just
done that
is.
way, but it was.
Good,
so.
better, and different. Just hopefully they understand it's just sort of an anomaly. But
Yeah, we'll make sure that they understand.
Okay,
We'll put
great.
that in the report, so.
Yeah, so I would echo Beniqua's, her comments, because I think if you can get some letters of support, that's all good, and a good photo that shows how treed that is, that helps a lot. I mean, because you're not going to be impacting anyone really, so, right? And you want to make sure you let them know that.
Okay.
Because that's always the big concern is, okay, do the neighbors care? If they're good, then fine, and then is it going to, impact the road view or any of that, so.
Okay.
But it's a really going to be a nice structure, so, great.
Thank you.
So good luck, and.
Thank you. Should I submit them before next meeting or just bring them with me?
Robin, what do you think? Just
I'm
bring-
sorry, what was the question?
Does he need to submit any of the additional documents before, or just take it with him?
neighbors' approval,
You can take it with you.
Yeah.
things like that.
You can take it with you.
Bring them with me? Okay.
Okay.
So I'll bring them. Okay.
Great.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
Looks like a great project.
Thank you.
To have letters of support earlier, you can email me that.
Thanks.
Okay, our next courtesy review is V21-03. The address is 960 Landrum Road. This is to allow the pool to be located within the front yard and to allow the cabana to be located in the front yard. You could state your name and address.
I'm Scott McMichael, the homeowner, 960 Landrum Road.
Great.
It sounds weird when you say front yard every single time. But Robin and the team have been able to help me out. We were originally hoping that this could just be a matter of interpretation as to what the front of the home was or the front build line. But on advice of the city, including the city attorney, we decided a variance would be in everyone's best interest because the project will be in front of what would be the front door of the home while not in front of the garage build line. So originally we interpreted it as only side yard. So it's not squarely in the front yard. The circumstances of the lot are interesting because there should be plenty of room to build 13 pools there, but as it turns out, it's wedged in, left, right, center, and state waters included. We have looked at alternate locations, but determined that going through the variance process would be in the best interest of our investment. We've provided photographs of the property as well as I think you have the site plan and renderings. The maybe the most important is that is like the former gentleman, we are under a almost complete canopy, so there is no pasture or non-wooded land. So our intention is to keep rural landscape intact and to remove as few trees as are as necessary to build to dig the hole, as it were. I think the first photo shows most explicitly that there is a very well-defined front yard, I guess in layman's terms, that is already landscaped both naturally and through our efforts. So the buffer from Landrum is pretty substantial, more substantial than 99% of other lots, I would imagine. So we're here to get your advice and ask a couple of questions and make sure we're walking down the right path with the BZA.
I reviewed all the material and I felt mean, I understand where they're putting it, and you are very canopied with trees, and less damage to the trees is always a good thing for a view shed. So, I mean, I think, to me, the project looks like it's in the right spot, just the way the property is laid out. So, I think it looks like it's going to be a nice project, and I'm not sure where else you would put it, just because of all the canopy trees there anyways. Any other questions, comments from the board, thoughts on this project?
So there aren't any variances to get it within any kind of limits. It's just strictly, it's quote unquote in the front. Is the only thing.
Because it is 20 feet or so in front of what would be the front door of the home. That's right. Yeah, it would, in general, we would like to not add variances, and certainly wouldn't be wanting to make a difference in the code. The code is right. It's just a unique circumstance as far as we're concerned.
You say you're 20 foot, it's 20 foot that puts you.
Correct. About 40% of the project at the side of the home is in front of the front door, but it still sits about 6 feet behind the home's build line.
Gotcha. Okay.
Project rendering looks like you're going to do some nice landscaping around the pool as well.
As a matter of fact, that rock is natural, so if we have to come back and ask for lots of TNT, that'll be a different day's discussion. But we hope, because septic is right below there, that they've moved most of the rock. The intention is to use the rock already on property. We have that much granite, so we're hoping not to dig into too much as they start that process. That is natural rock.
It's a very natural shaped pool, so that should help fit in to the yard. If it was a rectangular pool or something, that would be totally different. But it's so free flowing. I think this
The pool designers were before they did pools, they did the hard work of landscape. So he is a bit of a free-form kind of guy. So he's promised to look like God put it there, and we intend to hold him to that.
I would just make is this drawing, if he can come in a full
T90,
size,
fair enough. Yeah.
that'd be helpful. I'm sure that they would want to see it as a larger, so they can scale off of it and just confirm. But other than that,
Yeah, we are, it makes it look so tiny inside that space. Largely, you can, at least in that 8.5 by 11, see that we're trying to avoid edging into state water. Bob has advised, and the city engineer has advised that that's all work-aroundable, but the pool will end up landing in what I call no man's land. It's neither on the main tier or the terrace once you start fiddling with it. So who knew? We'll know a lot about building pools, but I won't build a second one, I'm sure.
Excuse me.
Very sure.
Ms. Palmer, what was your recommendation?
just that they can have their site plan in a full-size set.
Plotter
so that
print. Yeah.
you can scale off
So you can
of it.
actually read and see.
Yes.
Fair point. I heard several times tonight about the neighbors writing affidavits or memoranda. Are emails generally okay? Or?
Yep, you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have spoken to a couple of them as we put up the funky green sign. So they were wondering what we're up to. Do you believe that having more evidence, more photographs is necessary, or is it explicit? When you see it for the first time, does it make sense, I guess, evidentially?
Yeah, it can't hurt. I mean, when you look at your aerial, I mean, it is very clear this is a highly wooded lot. I mean, I looked at that and I went, well, shoot. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of woods. But, yeah, so I think, if there's any other photos, or the larger that help.
I think aerial.
The 3D renderings are really nice to see.
Yeah, those are great.
So it would be a good photo to have in here if you can do a screenshot from the street side, kind of from the street, if I'm a car or something, like I said, street side, so we can see what it looks like from the front, but further back, so I can see the house and where that pool is.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because that's what I would be curious as a resident in the area. How does it look from the street?
Yeah.
our intention is to be very conscientious of the rural landscape. That's why we bought there. So to disturb that would be counterintuitive. Having the pool builder present, do you believe that is a necessity
I think
for
it's
BZA?
I think it's helpful, because if there's any specific questions, they can answer it.
Got it.
It never hurts to have the pool builder there.
Fair enough. And
Even though you've done very well, I will have to say. So
any different arguments or better ones to sort of state the case? It just, like I said, it rings weird, right, as we were putting together the preparation for tonight.
It's very hard to see. This right here is very hard for me. My eyes are going cross. I don't know what's what, really.
You can see.
Well, are we trying to avoid setbacks from stream buffers? Is that what we're doing here? Is that what the goal
no,
is?
this one is because the pool is located basically in the front yard. So that's the only variance, is that the pool and cabana are essentially in the front yard, but it's due to the canopy. Yeah, well, it's such a large wooded lot that you'd be mowing down a ton of trees, which we don't want that to happen either.
So the area you're wanting to put it in is just more of a clear space.
Yeah.
Currently.
Correct. It's the only already cleared to the side of the.
Yeah.
So
works
if
with
you
the
look at
topo,
the
too.
second page with low engineers at the bottom, it's kind of the overall site plan. So you'll see where the house is located and then where he's very far away from the stream. So it's just, that gives you kind of a more aerial perspective of where everything is.
Yeah, okay.
But you're right, Reed. If we pushed the pool back, we would kind of fall between we would be on top of septic. We would be inside of that 200-foot state water buffer, and then sort of in between the home's elevations of basement or terrace and main. So to place it there just says we would need a variance to be forward of the front door. I'm sorry,
Right.
what was that?
Problems for another.
And more was the final determination. So
You said that
let's
you would be within a state buffer if you put the pool in the back of the house. Is that what you just indicated?
even if it moved if we move the pool backward at all by 5-7 feet, we'll find ourselves in the state water buffer,
I got you.
Yeah, I
which
think-
is not
I
insurmountable.
would probably have that. I mean, I
Yeah.
would include that.
Yeah, I would have that on, big.
In red.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
your builder can do those. So, yeah, and because then I think the argument's pretty clear, right? Totally wooded lot, and you push it back, you're into buffers.
Right.
So this is really, in fact, the best place.
Scares me to death to mess with septic when septic works.
Right.
Doesn't scare everybody, but
Yeah. So,
I'm not in the
But
septic
you covered
business.
it in your letter. Rating it would be.
yeah.
Got it.
I like things simple.
Yeah, the lesser of the two evils, here's what we're deciding to go with.
Yeah.
The lot works, it's buffered, more photos, maybe a little.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Can I just clarify something, just to make sure that the demarcation of the 200, that's a 200-foot from the stream? It doesn't mean that you can't build in it. It just means they have to do additional engineering and site work because it's within, if you end up being within 200 feet, there's some extra regulations to go through. But it doesn't mean that you can't be in that area. So I just wanted to make sure that you weren't misinterpreting that line as being the 75 foot. Because he's got
Right.
over 5 acres.
Right.
Yeah, it's
I
not
mean,
an
it's fine
insurmountable
if you still prefer the front, but I just want you to understand that it's not that he's encroaching into the stream buffer.
I I'll have 10% markup on it if you move it further back, at least.
and some timeline. So we did look at that alternative with the pool guy and with Lowe, and still seemed to be the better option in our opinion.
Yeah, I just think with all the trees on that lot, you're kind of, you would be substituting one evil for another, and it's like, what's the better one? Yeah. No. You know, I'm not a big variance person. I'm usually not into that. But when you look at this, and I saw the amount of woods, and where I saw where they put it, I went, yeah, that makes a lot more sense to me. I mean, and like I said, I'm not a design engineer, but just from a common sense perspective. So it sounds like we're on board with your project. So if you can bring those other items with you, I think that's going to just,
Makes
it'll
sense.
make your case stronger and
Perfect.
and help with those who have poor vision, including me.
I understand. Yeah.
So, so good luck on that. I think it
Thank you
looks
very
like
much.
a
Good
nice,
guidance.
it looks like a nice project, and I like what you're doing.
All
So,
right. Thank you all very much.
thank you. So, our final courtesy review case is RZ21-01 and VC21-01, and the address is 13085 Morris Road. To rezone from T5 Limited to AL Apartments Limited. Request to correct a legal nonconformity with regard to density of a multifamily project that was built in 2001. No changes to the existing development are proposed. Total of 554 units at a density of 18.43 units per acre on 30.05.
So,
Which
apartment complex?
Yeah, which one is this? Because this is
It's
my
on
area.
Morris. It's the first one on the right at Morris and Webb, like the Webb extension.
Yep.
It's the one on that northeast
Yeah, I know which
corner
one.
section.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
It appears that the applicant's attorney is not on Zoom, but I don't see him. But I do also want to clarify, technically, you don't need to hear it because rezonings are not part of the Deerfield form-based code, and I didn't realize it till after the fact. But I will say that we had a similar case 5 years ago on Deerfield Parkway where that apartment complex, a lot of times when complexes change hands, ownership, whoever's holding, doing the financing, they want to make sure that if a tornado comes through or a fire, they can rebuild the building just as it is instead of, and so the way our zoning code is, if just one building goes down, they would have to redo everything per the form-based code requirements. So for whatever reason, some complexes or they don't care or the financial people financing it don't care, but other ones do. And so in this case, they wanted to have the flexibility that if something happens to one of the buildings or a couple of the buildings, they can rebuild it in place. I will tell you that I did this 5 years ago. One of the conditions of the rezoning would be if there would be redevelopment of the property, a total 100% redevelopment, that they would be required to do it to the form-based code. So just FYI.
I was just going to ask you that
Okay, yeah.
because that's always a concern with apartments and townhomes as well. So,
Yeah. So, but
okay.
just for your information, that's what would occur. So
Okay. So
really no comment.
Yeah.
And I was starting to going through the code. I'm just used to just sending everything to DRB, and then I realized, oh, well, you're not even required to look at rezonings. And not that we have very much in form-based code anyway, so.
There's just more of a legal issue.
Yeah.
Get on the
yes,
books.
exactly.
Okay.
And the other point is when it talks about density, when 1996, 97, when all this area there was a lot of master zoning. And so it was this complex and the next complex to the east. They were together zoned. And so the overall density was like 12 or 13 units per acre. But because it's different ownership, you do the math and divide the number of units into their 30 acres, it goes up to a higher density. And so that's why we have two different apartment zonings. Like normal zonings is A, which is medium, which is what it was originally zoned before the form-based code. But we had to request for AL because A is only up to 14 units per acre. So that's why it was explained that it's to fix the density issue as well. So that's what that is. It's a technicality.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I understand it. It looks like we have no final reviews for this evening, and new business is vote for 2020 Design Review Board Chair and Vice Chair, and then we've got a demo permit approved for 2560 Bethany Creek Court.
Sorry, it's supposed to be one.
Oh, yeah, 2021. Thank you. I was like, wow, wait a minute. That doesn't look like the right year. Yeah, that would be for 2021. Thank you. I didn't even get that.
I'm good with leaving the vice chair the same if Laura wants to, Jeff wants to continue.
So what typically, I don't know, Chairperson Whitesong, if you lead doing the voting or if you want us to.
Yeah, I'm obviously, I mean, my only comment would be if somebody else would like to take this job, I'm happy to support them. If nobody wants to, then I will continue to help out. So I'm not, pressuring anyone, but if, I'm happy to move aside if somebody wants to get experience doing this, or I'm happy to continue.
So I think typically what I do with the Planning Commission is I ask for a nomination first for the chair, and then somebody can make a nomination and then second it, and then we would take it for a vote, and then we could do the vice chair. So I open up the floor for a nomination for the chair for 2021.
We have a quorum. We can vote on this tonight. Is there any benefit for waiting till everybody has a say and Charlie's not here?
Yeah.
Or do we just
It's
vote?
fine. You have a quorum. So you have 6. So you're good.
I nominate Laura Wison as a chair for 2021.
Second.
The voice from
Okay,
above.
do we have a second on that? Or do we have any other nominations for chair? Okay, none heard. So with the nomination for Ms. Wysong, do we have a second? Okay, Ms. Benquez. And then we have a nomination and a second. And so can we have a vote, please? Or, you just say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so that's a 6-0. Okay, so now I'd like to have open it up for nominations for the vice chair.
I'll make the nomination for Jeff Dufresne for vice chair.
Okay, we have one nomination for Jeff Dufresne. Do we have any other nominations for vice chair? Okay, none heard. So do I have a second for Mr. Dufresne for vice chair?
Can I just make one quick comment? As long as this COVID thing is around us, and until I get a vaccine, I'll probably do these meetings remotely. That would be no change as the way I've been handling it so far. But I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that.
So I do think that if Laura is not present, that the city attorney is determined, I know for the BZA, that the chair should be present. So, that is a good point to make. That really is one of the main purposes of a vice chair, is to lead the meeting. So,
I would like to nominate Benny as our vice chair.
I'm sorry, what did...
I thought that one meeting where they told us,
And temporarily,
right, that they can
You can temporarily, but that's not the best situation.
Okay.
I mean, I think really the intent is to, a vice chair's purpose is to be, at least for this year, if COVID's still there, and then if next year things change back around. I mean, I would encourage you to, Mr. Dufresne is doing awesome, but at the same time, with not knowing what's going to go in the future.
Someone that's not here?
I think he's trying to nominate you.
I declined.
So I know that Charlie,
That's what I'm saying, can we
Charlie would like
nominate
to.
someone that's not here?
Charlie would.
Probably
No,
would.
Charlie would have to be here. So if you want to like a table or defer the vice chair vote, that's fine.
Okay.
If you,
Let's do that.
All right, so, so we'll table the vice chair vote
Okay.
until next month. He'll be
Okay.
back.
that sounds like a plan.
Yep, I think
Okay.
that's a good plan.
Yeah, we can't really vote on him if he's not here. So.
Can.
Yeah. We could, but he may not be in agreement, so we need to double check and make sure he's good with it.
Well, I appreciate everybody's just effort the last year. I know it's been a trying time, so, the city really appreciates all the work that you do through this difficult situation, so, and being flexible. I think we
Flexible is our name. Hey, so Rob and I have a question on this permit on Bethany Creek Court.
So basically, this new business, I'm just here, we gave you a
damage.
letter from the fire marshal, basically that this house was burned down in the beginning of the year. And just, oh, my people are here now. But let me just tell them that we went ahead and Mr. Westmoreland, we went ahead and dealt with the item, so you don't have to worry about it. Let me unmute. You can unmute yourself.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
So-
Thank you very much. Yeah. So thank you, Robin. So this will not be heard by the DRB since there's no construction plan.
Well, it's actually technically on the form-based code for Deerfield, there's no requirement for rezonings to be
Okay.
heard by the, so you're good. But I explained it to them just for their information.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Well,
you're
great. Thank you. Happy New Year to all of you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you at the planning
Thank you.
commission. Okay. Thanks.
Bye.
Okay. So we're just bringing it to you to let you know that it was demoed based on the fire situation, and basically that was it. So
Okay, so, yeah, it's more of a informational point. Yeah, because it was, and you have to demo those within a certain period of time anyways. That's a shame. Have they, are they rebuilding yet, or what's?
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, they are rebuilding.
They've
Yeah, you
rebuilt?
have a building permit.
I have a building permit on.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's terrible, terrible consequences. All right, so I believe that's new business. Is there any old business?
Oh, you know what? I'd like you guys to. Shopping.
No, I don't think so. They have a sign-in sheet every time.
Because of
Don't have those anymore?
Yeah.
pass the pen around.
I know, yeah. Yeah, we were signing in, but pens are an issue these days, I
Yeah.
guess. Unless you bring your
2020.
alcohol spray.
I'll virtually sign it.
You know, I don't always realize that we have a tech guy in the back there. So thank you to him or
Yeah, so
Who always
that's
shows
Mr.
up.
Juan, that's Juan, he does awesome.
thank you.
Yeah,
All
awesome.
right, thank
Or I
you.
just refer to him as the Great Oz. He's just the person behind the curtain.
Right.
pulling the levers.
So can I do the city and,
Just put a star so that I know that you also use the
okay,
email.
okay.
I will have both of them in the send email. I will have all of them. Basically, we can find your city emails quickly because we have a system and we just type in your name, it comes. But it's just your personal emails that I don't really have. Oh, but there's a...
All right, so once everybody has their email addresses, we're adjourned.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for